Hey, Trap here, and guess what? It's the Journey of Graves Chapter 4 after God knows how long. I don't give a shit. People get busy, and if I'm not busy, I'm sick, so I have free time now, and let's get this started. Chapter 4. With Fluttershy happily chatting away, it was a surprisingly short time before they found themselves in front of a large, white building with multitudes of elegant dresses displayed behind gleaming windows. The traveler knew nothing about clothes. Seriously, absolutely nothing. And yet, even he could see that these were very high-quality garments. They almost seemed to exude elegance.
"You're sure this won't be a bother?"
The traveler asked, eyeing the building uncertainly. He had never been inside a store like this, and the thought of asking its proprietor for a mend on his worn shirt just didn't make any sense.
"I'm sure it'll be fine,"
Fluttershy assured him, for once sounding more confident than he did.
"Now let's go inside and get you fixed up."
The tinkling of a small bell accompanied the pair as they entered. The traveler was quite taken aback. If anything, the inside was even nicer than the out, and that was saying something. All manners of fashionable ensemble glittered under the light. From ladies' gowns and dresses to men's coats and jackets, the store held a dizzying variety of clothes of every style, color, and cut imaginable.
"Is it nice?"
Fluttershy giggled.
"Rarity just makes the best dresses ever."
The traveler stopped mid-step and gave her a funny look.
"You're saying,"
he began slowly,
"that Miss Rarity made all of these?"
"Of course.
Fluttershy said as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
It is her store after all."
The young man simply let out a low whistle in awe. As they made their way into the store, the traveler staring in wonder that one person could come up with so many different designs, a melodious voice called out from somewhere in the back.
"Hello? Is someone there?"
Out from behind a mannequin in a stunning evening gown came an even more stunning young lady. From her perfectly curled violet hair to the simple yet stylish white blouse, black skirt combo, she was quite possibly the prettiest girl the traveler had ever seen. And he'd been around and seen a few.
"Fluttershy, darling."
Rarity called out warmly as she embraced her quiet friend.
"I wasn't expecting to see you till this afternoon. What brings you here?" "Hello, Rarity,"
She replied with a happy little smile.
"I was wondering if you could, that is, if you're not busy, do me a tiny little favor and fix this nice man's shirt."
Rarity looked up from the hug and noticed the young man at her store. And then she gasped.
"Good gracious, what happened to you?"
She asked, staring at him in horror.
"Slight run-in with Miss Rainbow Dash,"
He replied apologetically. Not sure why, but he felt that with Rarity, it was probably best to be sorry about the state of his clothes.
"Oh, that Rainbow Dash. I do wish she'll settle down a little."
Reaching into her pocket, Rarity pulled out a pair of glasses and, after putting them on, began to carefully scrutinize the traveler's appearance. From this close, the traveler could faintly catch the sweet scent of lavender coming from her hair.
"Of course, there's nothing wrong with her hobby of flying,
She continued, wrinkling her nose as she pinched the sleeve on his coat.
but I do wish she'd be a little more careful. After all, what if she has a serious accident? She might even end up with a scratch on her face. Of course, she might not care, but a girl's face is her life, you know."
After making a full circle around the traveler, Rarity crossed her arms and pursed her lips in thought, only to end up shaking her head.
No. This simply will not do.
She clucked in disapproval.
"I'm sorry, dear, but you're going to have to take it off."
Well, that was certainly unexpected.
"Take what off?"
He asked, almost certain that he had misheard. He hadn't,
"Why, your clothes, of course."
Rarity said, as if she was merely stating the obvious.
"You don't expect me to mend an ensemble when you're still wearing it, do you?"
"Mend?"
The traveler asked, confused.
"I just need a tear fixed,"
He said, pointing to the sleeve. Rarity just waved her hand dismissively.
"Oh, please. That's just a simple patch job."
The fashionista said offhandedly.
The rest of you, however, will clearly take some real work, and I'd best get started now if we want to make it in time for the party.
With that, she deftly spun the traveler around and stripped off his jacket as easily as she was peeling off an orange.
My goodness! And that shirt!
She gasped in horror.
Honestly, where did you find that thing?
A store?
The traveler replied. He knew he bought it someplace, but how in the hay was he supposed to remember where?
Just in the old store?
Rarity asked, sounding downright scandalized.
Darling, have you ever seen the way it looks on you? It's not doing you any favors, trust me.
But
Now, not another word.
She said, hustling him back behind a silk screen.
You take that off and hand it here. Oh, and send over your slacks as well. Those could use a good sprucing up as well.
A few moments later, the shirt appeared at the top of the screen. The pants, however, remained unseen.
Really, darling?
The pretty young lady sighed, hands settling on her hips.
Do I have to come back there and fetch them myself?
A few scrambling moments later, and the pants appeared as well. Simply rolling her eyes, Rarity turned to her flush-faced friend and mouthed the word, "men," as an amused smile played on her lips. Just then, the front door crashed open and Rainbow Dash tumbled in, a two-handed death grip on the traveler's bags.
Rainbow Dash, what on earth are you doing?
Rarity called out.
Hey there, Rarity. Hey there, Flirt.
The colorful flyer panted from where she lay sprawled out on the ground.
I've got his stuff here. I don't know what he's got here, but it's like carrying a tons of bricks. Seriously.
Finally standing up, the little lady looked around only to realize that the traveler was nowhere to be seen.
Hey, I don't see him anywhere.
She said.
Where's he at? He's back there.
Fluttershy said, pointing at the screen and making a conspicuously careful effort not to look anywhere in that direction.
Well, what's he doing back there?
Rainbow Dash asked, scratching her head in confusion. Flitting over to the silk screen, she called out.
Hey, buddy, I got... Rainbow Dash.
The violet-haired I gotta go to the bank, then I'll get the pizza, says Moya. Okay. The violet-haired seamstress called out, with warning in her voice.
What?
Rarity simply held up the contents of her hand, a shirt, and a pair of pants. Tomboy that she was, Rainbow Dash just stared at them. A moment passed, and then it clicked.
Oh,
She said, finally realizing the implications. When she did, the young athlete's face turned a whole bright shade of cherry red.
well then, I'll just leave your stuff here. Don't want to crowd you or anything, right? So, I'm just gonna be, yeah, I gotta go see you, bye!
And with that, Rainbow Dash rushed out the door so quickly that she left a rainbow streak in her wake.
My word.
Rarity tutted.
Fluttershy, would you be a dear and go after her? Who knows what kind of mess she'll get into flying around like that?
Giving Rarity a grateful smile, the pink-cheeked girl dashed off after her friend. Not quite so quick, but with an impressive alacrity nonetheless.
Well, now that that's out of the way, I can finally get to work.
The stylish young lady said with a satisfied nod.
Miss Rarity,
The traveler called from behind the screen.
there's no need for all the trouble.
Don't worry, darling, it's no trouble at all.
She called back to him.
All I need to do are some readjustments to the stitching, cast a few stain removal spells, and perhaps one or two resizing charms on the more troublesome areas, and make some general repairs all around.
And that's not trouble.
Rarity's laugh was like a tinkling of silver wind chimes in a spring breeze.
Oh, please. You make it sound like it's going to be hard.
Even trapped behind the screen as he was, curiosity overcame the traveler. And so, peeking very carefully around the edge of the silk panel, he watched as Rarity began her work. It really was a spectacular feat. Removing a small wand from a band at her wrist, Rarity flicked it a few times and made the room come to life. Scissors, spools of thread, needles, bottles of fabric cleaners, and so much more began flying to the table where she stood. In a furious whirlwind, all these things began to go to work. A snip here, a mend there, a dab at one spot, and just a bit of magic at another, and all at a pace that would have put 10 normal seamstresses to shame. All the while, Rarity stood in the eye of the hurricane, humming away happily as she worked with a poise of absolute ease. In a few short minutes, it was done, and Rarity brought the clothes over and hung them over the top of the screen.
There, that should do it,
she said, as she slung the heavy leather jacket over as well.
Now, be a dear and put those on so we can take a look at you.
Redressing himself, the traveler stepped out from behind the screen. Rarity paused as she eyed him up and down, scrutinizing him on every last detail.
Much better,
the young lady finally declared with an approving smile.
Oh yes, Rarity, you are a talent. Now keep in mind,
she continued, looking up to address the young man before her.
There's only so much I could do. The quality of the fabric being really only so-so and all, but I think you'll see that with a little cleaning and some minor tailoring, the whole ensemble just comes together.
And she was right. At a glance, not much had changed about his clothes. They were still the same shirt and pant, still the same dark leather jacket, but now they seemed much nicer. The travel stains had disappeared, and the fabrics were once again soft and supple. The frayed edges on the ends were gone, and everything seemed to follow the contours of his body, from his broad shoulders to the tapper of his lean waist. Everything seemed to fit, as if it was just made for him. In a way, he guessed they had.
Now, let's have a look at that hat,
Rarity said, plucking it off his head before the traveler had a chance to protest. With a quick wave of her wand, the dust was whisked away and the stains faded to nothingness.
Most people tend to forget,
she explained as she applied some lotion to the leather and magicked it in.
But accessories are essential to the outfit.
I'll keep that in mind.
Once finished, the young lady reached up to place the hat back on his head. However, she paused just as she did. She hadn't noticed it before, but under the hat, the traveler had a head of long and very straight jet black hair.
You could also use trim,
she commented, eyeing him competently.
Something to brighten up your appearance, as it were. And of course there's no need for these bangs either, she said,
reaching to brush them aside.
Why?
And she stopped. As she pushed his hair aside, their eyes unexpectedly met, her large sapphire blues staring right into his distant gunmetal grays.
Oh my,
she murmured, the hat completely forgotten in her hand. The traveler used this opportunity to quickly take it from her and put it back on, breaking the eye contact rather abruptly.
Problem?
The traveler asked, adjusting the hat to make sure it lay low over his face. He didn't much like people looking at him too closely.
No, not a problem,
Rarity replied as she gave him a quick little handshake.
You have very striking eyes, you know, almost like moonstone. I did think that brown would be fine since it matches your complexion, but now I'm thinking something in a navy blue, or possibly the charcoal gray variety. It would certainly do more to bring out those eyes of yours.
Miss Rarity, there's no need.
Oh, I know that, darling,
she said airily, with a wave in her hand.
Call it what you will. But whenever I see quality material, I do so love to see it properly displayed.
It took a moment before the traveler realized the material in question was him.
Oh, if only the royal marshals will get here, then I would really have something to work with.
Marshals are quality material?
The traveler asked.
Oh my, yes. Why, heroes of that stature must certainly cut a gallant figure, and that is truly rare. After all, if you need a certain shape, then a mannequin will do quite nicely. But men like the marshals must have a certain air about them. Do you understand what I mean?
I guess.
The traveler replied, although he really didn't.
Yes, it's quite true.
Rarity continued.
Anyone can just wear clothes. But to bring out true style, the person has to have a certain je ne sais quoi about them. Maybe it comes from seeing the world and facing dangers every day. But whatever it is, I believe the marshals have it. After all, who better to bring my outfits to life than genuine heroes?
Can they even wear nice clothes?
The traveler asked.
They're on the road an awful lot.
But of course!
She replied, aghast.
Just because you're galloping across the country doesn't mean you can't look good doing it.
The simple logic of that statement made it impossible for the traveler to respond. In the meantime, as Rarity began putting away her things, her eyes alighted on the wall clock, and she gasped.
Oh my goodness!
The young lady breathed, her eyes widening in alarm.
Look at the time! I was supposed to be helping out with decorations 15 minutes ago!
Quickly gathering a bag full of supplies together, she turned to look regretfully at the traveler.
It really is a shame I couldn't do a little touch-up on your hair.
She sighed.
It simply isn't right to hide your eyes behind those forelocks, you know.
As she said this, the violet-haired girl let out a vexed little cry.
Oh, you will stay around and let me finish the job, won't you? Please tell me you will.
I have business to take care of.
The traveler said evasively.
Oh. Well, in that case, perhaps I could help you finish and free up your schedule. What exactly is it that you need to do?
Rarity asked with a smile. It seemed like anything for the sake of fashion was acceptable to this one.
Need to find Miss Twilight.
The traveler said as he shouldered up his bags.
Make a delivery.
Twilight?
Rarity said thoughtfully as she finished gathering her things.
Well, most of the organizing should be done, so she's probably back at the library. It's not far, but the traffic on the streets today might make it hard for you to get there.
Suddenly, Rarity gasped.
Idea!
Running over to one of her mannequins, she removed a simple yellow dress with a white lace and deftly folded it before dropping into the bag.
I needed to drop off Twilight's dress by this afternoon anyhow, so why don't I take you over there myself?
I'd appreciate that.
The traveler replied with a grateful tip of his hat.
Excellent. Come along then.
Walking by the traveler, Rarity smoothly dropped her bag to his open hand and headed to the door.
What?
The young man asked as he looked at the bag in hand, almost unsure of how it got there. To this, the young beauty simply turned around and gave him an innocent little smile.
What? You don't expect a lady to carry that by herself, do you?
And holy fucking shit, that's chapter 4. Chapter 3 probably came out months ago. A lot of drama since then. A lot of good things too. For one, Doompipe people are actually starting to do some fucking work, including myself. But, you know, Slipnir and Lord Emil, Eric and William, you know, those fucking WinRAR and shit, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. And yeah, I think you've noticed, but we have a new voice actor person, Izzy. Actually, I kind of forget her YouTube name, but the link will be in the description, and you should probably check out her channel because she's worked on other stuff. And the reason why this takes so long was, you may remember, excuse me, you may remember in chapter 3 when I had a voice actor by the name of Jenna Buns or something. Anyway, I never really got my lines from her for this chapter. After kind of messaging back and forth over and over again. Well, it's unfair. She did give me her lines, except there was TV in the background, and it was all stupid, and I had to kind of resend it and say, hey, this is unacceptable. And she was like, eh. Anyway, I never got my stuff from her. And then I kind of put Graves on the back burner for a while I worked on my stuff, which is animation, which will never get done because holy shit, I put too much detail into things. But I've been working on this project for 2 years. Anyway, yeah, so Journey of Graves Chapter 4. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully it'll be sooner because I have someone who can actually supply female roles and not run away. So, hooray. Yeah, but we're always looking for new talent. And by new talent, I mean people who can do female voices. I don't mean new readers or anything like that. We're not really looking for that anymore. Sorry, I still get messages from some people. And honestly, they suck. They suck ass. They suck a lot of dirty dick. I was really lucky when I got Slipnir and Emil. Especially Slipnir, he's a great audio engineer. We're gonna do great stuff together. Anyway, that's it. So, bye-bye. I love you. See you next time.
Woohoo!